Hello everyone, it's Nicole. I'm finally here to film my February wrap-up. It's surprising to me that I've managed to read so many books because recently I've been in a reading slump, and I guess some of the actions that I took helped me to overcome it. But we're going to discuss it in another video because otherwise it's going to be too long. My month started with extremely fast rereading of the full series, which was a series by C.S. Pacat named The Captive Prince. I've read two first books once again in preparation of the coming out of the third book named King Rising. And I have to say that I enjoyed reading especially the first book once again way more than when I've read it for the first time, because at this point I knew how the story is going to go and what's going to happen with the characters and how their relationship is going to develop. So I wasn't preoccupied with being angry at everyone and wanting justice for my favorite characters. Instead, I've been enjoying all these glorious details that I missed the first time, and also this nostalgic vibe of the first books. Every beloved series feels like this, you know what I mean. And then I read the third book later than I expected, not actually on the day that it came out, and I thought that I'm going to buy it and then read it till I'll finish it. I was ready to read it till the morning, to be honest, but I actually managed to pace myself, which is weird because this book was extremely exciting. I honestly am baffled how well the series are wrapped up. I don't have any issues to complain about. I just loved every second of it. I actually made two reviews for King Rising. One of them is spoiler-free, another one is a discussion, so you can watch both if you read the book, and you can watch only the spoiler-free one if you did not read the book. But how did you manage to not read the book? I don't get you. I don't understand, honestly. I think when I finally picked up the third book, I was so pumped and I was so invested in the story that I did put the book down, but I never stopped thinking about it. And even when I had something else to do, and trust me, I didn't want to do anything, I just wanted to read the book, but sometimes you have to because you're an adult. I constantly thought about these characters and about their actions and their motivations and how the story is going to end, and oh please God, let it not end the way I think it's going to end, you know, Clexa style. So I've been constantly worrying about it, although I didn't read it in one sitting. I think it took me 3 or 4 sittings. Then after such a marathon, after reading 3 books in a row in the same series, which I never do, because I find it hard to marathon series. I get tired of the same world and the same characters, so I usually switch genres or do something in those lines. And I try to pick up a graphic novel, which is kind of a lighter genre because it's filled with pictures. I tried picking up Drinking at the Movies by Julia Wertz. It's about Julia Wertz that comes to New York and tries to, you know, conquer it, to build her career and life there. And of course she meets obstacles on her path and etc. I expected to see a bit of a twist there though, because how many times you can sell this story? It's getting a little bit tiring. When I started, I wasn't completely in awe with it. I sticked with it though, because I felt that if so many people liked it, I should like it as well. But I got so irritated by the drawing style. It's so annoying, to be honest. It's pretty much Betty Boop, and I'm really not in awe how Betty Boop is drawn. Also, it didn't have any fun elements in it, at least for me. And I personally read the series so many times and seen it so many times, I didn't find this interesting at all. I DNF'd it and I gave it 1 star because it was unbearable. So then, kind of burned out, I started digging and I wanted to read something completely different. I watched a video by Katie from the Book Wanderer. She was talking about this non-fiction book that seemed so appealing to me, and she said that she loved it so much that she had such an emotional response to it that I immediately wanted to try it. And it was Tiny Beautiful Things, Advice on Love and Life by Dear Sugar by Cheryl Strait. You probably heard about Cheryl Strait before, especially after the movie adaptation of her memoir Wild. At some point in her life, she and a couple of her friends invented this internet persona named Sugar, to whom you could send your heartbreaking, emotional letters about your personal issues, and she will write your back. Basically, this book is a collection of the most emotional and powerful emails that were sent to Sugar, and it also has the answers that Cheryl Strayed wrote to these people. These answers do contain literary merit, so it reads like an epistolary novel, and I thought that it's not going to have this effect on me, but it had. I didn't even thought that I have some of the problems that these people talking about. Sometimes you have some issues but you dismiss them because they don't seem that important. There were people that mentioned horrible things such as rape, abuse, homophobia, and there were people that just talked about their failed relationships, their divorces, their desire to be desirable. In comparison with abuse, concerns about friendships seem quite petty, but when Sugar writes her messages to these people as empathically as I believe only she can, you realize how important and huge this issue for these people, because no issue really is small. Honestly, this book is just amazing and it makes you see people from a different point of view and your issues from a different point of view. I never expected to be so affected by it. Cheryl Strayed is an incredibly soulful and understanding author. She reads these letters and she sees the pain that is not even mentioned, the pain that is undercover, and she explores it, and it's just, guys, it's beautiful. I mean it, it's beautiful. I gave this book 5 stars and I was glued to it for a couple of days. I've read this book everywhere. Literally everywhere. I took bathroom breaks to read it, and that has to tell you a lot. Then I realized that I'm slacking in my reviews on NetGalley and that I actually need to pick the books that I asked for and that I have to read them at some point because it's getting ugly and I'm seen as a bad person that asked for the books and never reads them. So I picked up Maresi, the first book in the Red Abbey trilogy, I believe. It's written by a Swedish author named Maria Turtschaninoff and it was translated by Annie Prime. This book wasn't really hyped, but I've been hearing things about it on BookTube. Basically, it's this young adult fantasy about a matriarchal society, which is a pretty interesting concept because matriarchal societies don't have much attention, to be honest, and I would love for more authors to explore it, not in a negative way. This particular book was such a wonderful and kind exploration of matriarchal society. It's about this girl named Maresi that lives in some kind of a monastery on a secluded island where only women are welcomed. They have a pretty neat society where all the girls have their own chores. Some of them look after younger girls, some of them cook, some of them clean, some of them sew, and etc. And also they have the sisters who are older women that look after the island and that can be seen as teachers. This book has pretty light fantasy elements that have to do with nature and paganism. The whole magic system revolves around religion. This whole island believes in the mother nature, basically, that has 3 faces. Young girls appear on this island when their parents send them away to be teach something, or when they run away from their abusive background. But most of these girls are not going to be left in the abbey. They mostly learn things and then help their own settlements with this knowledge. But then one of the girls appears on the island and she drags a lot of trouble behind her. I'm not going to spoil the plot any further. It's a very slow build book with low-key magic elements. I wouldn't say that it was extremely amazing, but it was pleasant to read for some reason. There are some quite difficult topics that were brought up, but still it reads young. In some way it reminded me all these coming-of-age novels about girls going to all-girls boarding school, which are basically matriarchal societies, except for some occasional male professor. And they happen to be my favorite novels because I love all-girls boarding school settings, because it allows women to explore their lives in a friendly and equal environment. So this book actually gave me this vibe. And last thing that I'm going to mention, I found a new manga that I absolutely love and adore. I thought the girlfriends are it, and I'm not going to find anything else ever again. And then I found, I believe, this webcomics, they are very weirdly formatted to be a full-on manga. So I believe it is a webcomic. Regardless, the name is Tamen de Gushi by Tan Jiu. It is beautiful and cute and lovely and everything that I ever hoped for. As far as I understand, it's not finished yet and it's not printed anywhere in English, so you can freely pirate it and read the English translation made by fans. It's basically about a girl that falls for another girl that she constantly sees on a train station. This girl constantly wants to talk with her, but she doesn't know how to start the conversation because they go to different schools. And her amazing friends help her up. Someone knows somebody from the other school and they give her the name. They befriend each other and that's how it starts. It seems pretty simple, but the story is so funny and cute and so real. The actions and the reactions of some of the characters are just so on point. And I love the friendships, all the friendships in this webcomic. It not only revolves around these two girls, but also about the group of their friends. So if you want to read something after girlfriends and you cannot find anything, literally anything, and you want something funnier and less angstier than girlfriends, read this. You're going to thank me later, I can promise you that. Although it's free right now, so why not? That's all the things that I wanted to say. What did you read in February? Was it any good? Tell me in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you soon in my next one. Bye.